So today's class will cover cutting tools. Basically, in cutting tools, we'll cover tool material properties, different type of tools like high-speed steel tool, cementite, tool, carbide tool, diamond tool, cubic boron nitride tool, CBN tools. So basically, I will discuss this for 5 types of tools. Then tool life equation, or tool failure. Tool failure will discuss. Then cutting fluids. I think you have gone through the notes. Everything is there. So then tool geometry will discuss. Tool geometry, where different type of tools, tool angles, and their significance, that we'll study. Then tool tool signature. Then we'll solve a lot of numericals problem. Again, I am telling you 35 years of the gate questions we'll solve. So let us see how class moves. We'll try to cover things. So tool material properties will discuss. Different type of tools will discuss. High speed steel tool, cementite, carbide, diamond tool, cubic boron nitride tool. Tool life equation, and tool failure, like tool life depends upon what, whether velocity, depth of cut, or feed. That will discuss. Generalized tool life equation, generalize tool life equation will discuss. Then tool geometry is very complicated. Tool is very complicated stuff. We have to understand all the angles associated with the tools, whether it is side rack angle, back rack angle, relief angle, or clearance angle, or whether it is node radius, whether it is side clearance or end clearance, whether it is side relief or end relief angle. Everything we have to understand, and their significance. Tool angles and their significance. What is that? And then tool signature, and for numerical problem will solve. So this is our target today. Let us see. Okay, fine. Everybody is following. Fine. All are having some energy or tired? Keep the energy. So I have some first theory part. Up to here we have theory part. Up to here, tool material, different type of tool, and this. So this is having a lot of theory, a lot of. There is no much numericals and what do you call? Equations are not involved. Equation will start from tool life. Equation. Nikhil is late. Okay, so equation will start from. So I have written all this. We'll try to understand. The first is machining. Machining, because tool is used in a machining. So what is that machining? Let us read. Forming and casting method requires movement of the metal particle either in the form of liquid or solid state. So you have casting and you have forming. So casting, what happens? You pour the molten metal in a cavity, right? You allow it for solidification, and you take the mold, casting from the mold. Finally, you machine it. So there is a movement of metal, movement of liquid metal. And in forming, I already discussed Forming is a mechanical process where we change the shape by movement of the material or by displacing the material. But this is in a solid state, and this is your in a liquid state. And casting, is a major problem with the caster is poor mechanical property. Poor mechanical property. Poor mechanical property. Why poor mechanical property? Casting product is having dendritic structure. At that dendritic structure is a brittle in nature. So casting product is having very bad mechanical property in terms of tensile strength and the toughness or resilience, but it is having very good compressive stress. So generally casting product is used for the compressive elements. When we design a machine element that is of complex shape, but it required load is compressive in nature, we use that. Then forming process is very good mechanical property, but problem with that, it is having load. You require very big amount of load, high amount of load to deform. Suppose you cannot tungsten, or you cannot hard material, very hard material you cannot use this forming process. So casting is having a problem of poor mechanical property, accuracy, surface finish. Accuracy is again problem because solidification is there, and again distortion is there, right? Now, then surface finish, it comes in a contact with the sand, so generally surfaces are rough. Forming become impractical when job is very big or required force is very high. When job is very big, it is very difficult, right? Now you have to apply a lot of force. This part is clear. Now these two, because when we study a third process or any new process or new technology, you must understand what was the problem with the old technology, because it is the advancement of the technology. So now machining comes in a picture. So machining is a method used in such that desired shape and size are obtained through removal of excess material. Removed material is called chip. So now you have machining. Already we discussed machining during casting process. Right now machining is also having some issue. It cuts fiber, and it is less mechanical property than your forming. So basically we remove material, and that removed material is chip. Then body which removes cutting tool material is called cutting tool. So what is the cutting tool? Body which removes the cutting material, and machine which provides necessary relative motion between work and tool is called machine tool. So you require two things. One is machine tool, and you have a cutting tool, right? Now, so cutting tool we understood it is in a body. When we will discuss theory of metal cutting, we'll clearly see there are three bodies. There are three bodies in a machining. One is your chip, workpiece, and tool, and all three bodies. So we have interaction, right now. So we'll all understand what is all these force interaction. Then your three velocities, different angles. Machining of finite area requires a continuous feed of the uncut portion at a suitable rate. The relative motion between the tool and workpiece responsible for cutting motion is known as primary motion or cutting motion. So what is primary motion and cutting motion? So primary motion, we have to understand that. Primary motion So there are two types of motion. One is primary motion and other is secondary motion. secondary motion. So primary motion and secondary motion. So primary motion is your cutting motion, cutting speed. So cutting speed is your relative speed, relative speed between 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 workpiece and tool. Sometimes what happens, tool moves, sometimes your workpiece moves. So it is not an absolute velocity. So you have three velocities involved in a machining process. We'll discuss it. When we'll discuss theory of metal cutting, we'll discuss three types of metal speed and their relation also with respect to shear angle and rack angle. So basically, from the geometry, we'll understand how chip velocity is related to the cutting velocity, how shear velocity is related to cutting velocity. So all these three are relative velocity. So I'm talking about the primary cutting, primary speed in a machining operation. That primary is your cutting motion, cutting speed, and that cutting speed is your relative motion between tool and workpiece. Sometimes workpiece moves, sometimes tool moves. In case of your shaper, your tool moves and your machine is your workpiece is stationary. But in case of planer, your workpiece moves and tool is stationary. In case of your uh, turning, your workpiece moves and tool is stationary. But in case of your boring or your drilling, your workpiece is stationary and tool moves. Secondary motion we call actually feed motion. Feed motion. Secondary motion is feed motion. Feed motion. Feed motion. So uncut, here what happens? So motion responsible feeding the uncut portion is called feed motion. So you have secondary motion that we call feed motion, where you have to continuously feed the motion. So two types of motion is required in a machining. One is your primary cutting speed and secondary is your feed motion. So what is directrix? Directrix and generatics. Generatics. Generatics and directrix, two things are there. So tool motion or cutting speed, I'm directly writing to make you understand. Cutting motion we call generatics, tool motion, and directrix is actually guide motion. It is basically your feed motion. So basically you have generatics, that is your tool motion, or we call cutting motion, and another is directrix, that we call actually feed motion. So you have two types of motion in a machining process, and based on combination of these two motion, these two motion, generatics and directrix, we get various type of machined surface. So you have to remember this because you confuse or sometimes will forget. So directrix means you somewhere it directs, it guides, right? No, direction. And generatics means surface is generated, right? No. So by cutting motion, surface is generated. So here you have combination. So depending upon the nature of relative motion type of surface that I already discussed. So you have here genetics. If it is genetics is straight line, and directrix is straight line, will get plane surface. That is there in a shaper and planers. Get asked combination. So and if generetics, the tool motion is circular and directrix is straight line, we get cylindrical motion. Then plane curve, and if genetics is plane curve and directrix is circular, we get surface of revolution. So let us understand more. So you have a cutting two motion. One is cutting motion that we call generatrix. and motion of cutting point, right now, and we call feed motion or secondary motion. Secondary motion. So basically, you have one motion is directrix, or second is your generatrix. So both motions are there, and both when it is straight, you have a straight motion. It is moving like this, and this is moving like this. We get a plane surface is produced. This surface will be produced. This surface, plane surface is produced. So this surface will be produced. This is your machined surface. Because one will travel like this, and another will travel like this. So it is your machined surface is your plane. So when it is straight line, straight line, straight line, it is plane. Second case, if generatrix is your circular motion, generatrix, and it is your directrix. So it is your feed motion basically, or secondary motion. When it is straight, this motion is straight, and this is your curve, circular. We get this machine surface, finished surface is this. This is your surface. So we get circular surface we produce, curved surface is produced. One thing, notes actually entirely typed by me, entirely all sketches were drawn by me, and I have not checked twice and thrice. So during teaching, if I correct it, correspondingly you please correct in your notes. So my notes is not absolute. Again, I am telling you, my teaching, the class is absolute. Class is 100% perfect. Notes, suppose I have copied this. So it is your plane surface. It is not plane surface, right? So you, because notes, it is entirely my copyrights. Everything line by line is mine. Notes. So you will find something mistake, small minor mistakes, small. Again, I'm telling you. During the class, I will. If you find this, you please correct in the notes. So you have a generatrix is circular motion and directrix is straight motion. We get cylindrical turning operation. Cylindrical surface. You get that cylindrical motion, right? Now that particular machining operation we call turning. Hey, who is writing this? Don't write this. Animation. So this is your cylindrical surface. Cylindrical surface. And that is turning. Turning operation. So you have varieties of machining process, machining operation, whether it's planer, shaping, or turning, or boring, or grinding, or drilling, everything, milling, everything will understand. And basically our focus will be only numerical parts. Will not discuss much about different type of machine tools, 30-40 pages theory, introduction, this, that, blah, different type of lathe machine. That I'm not going to discuss. I will teach you exactly heart of the machining process, like theory of metal cutting, where that all circles, right? All force dependent, all velocity, energy, power, merchant circle, everything will discuss. Up to this, anybody's any doubt? Tell me. Up to this, I have discussed two things. First is your why machining is required, and third one we discuss the directrix and generatrix combination. And of course, we require tool now. Tool, a body is a body which removes metal, and removes metal by penetrating, or by cutting, right now. So tool must be, what should be that body material property I am talking about? What is the tool material property? What is tool material? Now our topic starts. What is material for tool? Somebody ask me what is the doubt. Primary or secondary motion? Amal. Mr. Amal. So you have primary motion. Primary motion. We call it is also cutting motion. We call it is also generatrix. And one is your second motion, secondary motion, that we call feed motion, or we call it is feed motion, or it is called directrix motion. So directrix and generatrix are basically lines. Generatrix and lines or curve. This is also directrix is basically lines or curves. So combination of this, suppose you have one body is traveling like this and you are pulling this. So what will be you will get a plane surface. Right? So combination of directrix and generatrix produces different machined surface. If generatrix is straight line, directrix is straight line, then the produced surface is a plane surface. But when generatrix is your circular motion and directrix is your straight motion, like this. Suppose if I am talking about turning operation, so this revolves, so this revolves. So this surface, right now, it is having some relative velocity. This is your job and this is your tool. So this tool and job having some relative velocity. This is v is equal to pi dn by 60. Right now, so this cutting speed we call actually generatrix, and this tool moves like this. So it is a straight line motion. Tool motion is straight line motion, and this surface, this point motion is your circular motion. So combination of circular motion and straight motion produces cylindrical surface. Surface that is your turning operation. Is it now clear, Amal? Combination of lines, combination of motions. Fine. Now, yeah, we have to move ahead. Now, I was talking about, it is good. Actually, I request you all, because I'm not able to interact, and again, I am teaching from, I think there is a gap of 5 years. I have taught in Trivandrum more than, I think, 8 years. Then I went ISC Bangalore. So sometimes what happens, you are so if you want to, again I am telling you, if you want to get best from me, you ask question. I have thousands of way to make you understand. Sometimes मैं बोलता हूँ चलेगा, वो समझ गया बच्चा, मैंने चलाया in Malayalam we say. So sometimes I may be wrong. My assumption will be okay, everybody got it, but no, sometimes it is not true. You have to ask me, like Amal asked. I will tell you, I can go in details. I can go the origin of directrix, generatrix, and many things. But because that is not required here, so we have to limit somewhere. We have to limit up to gate and engineering services. Basically, my target is to train you to solve gate question, so that you can solve all gate question by your own. You don't require any help. That is my point. let me remove that animation. What do you call? Okay, fine. So we are discussing the tool material properties now. I think you must have gone through that, but again I am discussing. Yeah, blue color will use. Properties of cutting tool material, that is very important. So tool is subjected to high force, high temperature and high vibration. Why high force? Because if you see this tool cutting geometry, right? The pen, let me get my pen first. This is, please wait, let me get my pen first. Yeah, fine. So let me draw this. This is your tool. This is your chip. And this is your workpiece. This is your shear angle, anything. Okay. So now this tool, right now, this tool moves like this. Sometimes your tool moves, sometimes your workpiece moves. So tool, no, is subjected to force, different force that we'll discuss in a mechanic theory of metal cutting. But for time being, understand that tool has to move like this in this direction, and this tool edge will cut the material, and material will flow like this. Material, this is your chip will flow. So it is subjected to high force. Material will, this tool will be subjected to force. There will be force like this, force like this, force like this. So there will be thrust force normal to this surface. Means force will be there. Then high temperature, and because this tool in these machining surfaces, heat is generated at three places. One is to cut the material by rubbing and to avoid this. So basically, the heat, this high, I mean, finally you understand like this: all energy, power, all energy or power, what you supply to the machine is finally consumed to generate heat, and finally this heat increases temperature. So either it will increase temperature of the workpiece or tool or chip. So some part of this energy heat will be taken by the chip and tool and workpiece. So generally we don't want our workpiece to heat. We don't want our tool to workpiece to heat. If chip is heated, there is no problem. But what happens? Yes, some heat will be absorbed by the tool, and when tool absorbs heat, the temperature of tool will increase. And you know the all mechanical property depends upon the temperature. So with temperature mechanical property, all this stress strain curve get down. For an example, if you draw a stress strain curve for mild steel like this at 100 degrees centigrade, so it will be down like this for your 200 degrees centigrade. So at temperature, all this property decreases. So the tool property, tool material will be subjected to high force, high temperature, and high vibration. And because there will be vibration in cutting this operation, so vibration is a very, a vibration or fatigue or creep. These are things where material fails below its design point. For an example, if a material fails at 200 megapascal in a simple tensile test, same material will fail at 150 megapascal when there is a repeated load, when there is a vibration, when there is a harmonic force is in a harmonic in nature, when there is a fatigue, right? When there is a time dependent strain, time and temperature dependent strain that we call creep. So this vibration, and so we understood that tool material is subjected to high force, high temperature and vibration. So we have to now select a tool material which will resist all these things. Means it can sustain high load, high stress, it can take heat, it can resist the vibration. So first point is clear. Now main property of tool material is hot hardness and red hardness. Yes. What is that? As I said, this sometimes again I am telling you, because of the hardness only material is cut. Suppose diamond is the best. It is the hardest known material. If you scratch two material, if one material get scratch and another material is there is no scratch, so it is the best way to check which material is harder, right? Now, so tool material must be harder than workpiece. If it is not hard, how this tool material will penetrate, how tool material will cut the workpiece? So hardness is the very important property of tool material. But here problem is, because of the temperature, because of the heat generation in the machining process, whether cutting force into cutting velocity is the power required. And because, as I said, all this power is consumed to generate heat only. Either tool gets heated or chip get heated or workpiece heat get heated. And this is the reason we use cutting fluids. So this tool gets heated. Now the hardness of the tool is important at elevated temperature. Tool must be harder at higher temperature also. So that we call red hardness or hot hardness. Means red hardness or hardness means hardness at higher temperature. Hardness at higher temperature. It must keep the property of hardness at higher temperature. So that tool must have that red hardness property. And who does that property? That cobalt, right? No, a lot of alloying elements are there in tool material. We understand it now when we'll understand the high speed steel tool, the major alloying elements like the tungsten, molybdenum or cobalt. Or so this road, due to hardness only tool material is penetrate the workpiece, therefore hardness must be maintained high temperature. Yes, what is that? CBN, cubic boron nitride, will discuss, Ankit. That will discuss. You have, whether Ankit, you have got my notes, whether my study material have you received? Ankit, Mr. Ankit, have you received my what you call study material? Ankit, you then it is, yeah, you have not received, that is the problem. You first go through my study material, because CBIN will discuss in a details later on. Cubic boron nitride will discuss. Now I am talking about the general properties of cutting tool material. Toughness. Toughness is a very important tool material. Basically toughness. What is toughness? Toughness means you hear it every day with your friend. I am a tough guy. Means tough guy means easily I am not going to break. I am tough guy means you cannot break me. So whenever there is a word called toughness, means it is the energy consumed before fracture. So stress strain curves, the area under stress strain curves gives the energy stored in the material. So energy stored up to fracture is your toughness. So material should not fail, and the toughness is very, material must possess the toughness. So ability to absorb shock, toughness resist tool from breaking. Now, if heat is not dissipated, temperature of tool will increase and will lead to the failure. High temperature is generated due to frictional force between surface and tool surface. High temperature soften the material. As I said, soften the material. Tool material must possess high thermal conductivity. So thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity. Okay, you message me. You Ankit, you WhatsApp me. I will send you the material. It is there in a group. Anyway, you please message me on WhatsApp saying your name. I will provide you the material. You are new to the class. So thermal conductivity, it is the transport property. Transport property, right now. Transport property, heat transport property. Transport property of material. Transport property. You have one is called heat capacity, and other is called thermal conductivity. Try to understand this. So you have one material like this. Heat is supplied. Suppose you have 1000 watt. You are supplying to this material. So what will happen? This material will keep some energy. Right now, and it will transmit also. So heat capacity is the ability to keep the heat. If heat capacity is more, means it can keep more heat, and thermal conductivity K is more, it means it will transfer more heat. One term is called thermal diffusivity, K by rho Cp. Have you heard about this? Thermal diffusivity alpha is K by rho C. So basically, K is your thermal conductivity, this is your heat capacity. So thermal conductivity is good. It means temperature will not increase because heat will be dissipated. It will pass. So thermal conductivity K value of tool material must be high. Then to rub the workpiece, coefficient of friction, that is mu, must be low because it rubs, as I discussed, it rubs. So this is the tool material, right now. This is your tool. So it rubs over this chip moves like this. This chip moves like this over this rack surface of the tool, and so the mu value should be low. Otherwise, friction force is equal to mu into n. Means mu is more, means friction force more, and power is equal to force into velocity. Force is more, means power consumption will be more. So mu value must be low. And other property, you have high yield point, high ultimate strength, and non-corrosive. Non-corrosive. So basically, whenever tool material property is asked, everything should be very fine, right? No, everything should be very great. Otherwise, how this tool will? Okay, so we discussed some tool material, like first is your red hardness. Hardness. You have to remember this hot head hardness. Then your toughness. Toughness. Then third is your high thermal conductivity. High thermal conductivity. Fourth is your low coefficient of friction between your tool and workpiece. Coefficient of friction. Then fifth is your high yield strength. Sixth number, high ultimate strength. Seven number, non-corrosive. Non-corrosive means because tool material comes in a contact with the newly machined surfaces, so it should not corrode. It should not corrode the workpiece. Then any more property? What is the heat capacity? Heat capacity should be low, because if heat capacity is more, it will take more heat. Right now, heat capacity is low and high. Tell me, heat capacity high or low? Tell me whether you have understood it. Then you have to answer me whether heat capacity low or high. CBN. I am not talking about the CBNR now. I am talking about the general tool material. Why you are behind this cubic boron nitride, Ankit? CBN or HSS, everything we'll discuss. Heat transfer is high. That is your K. That is your K. Low coefficient of friction, high thermal conductivity, high ultimate strength. 9 number, high resilience. Resilience means it is your energy up to this elastic. High resilience. So your heat capacity must be tell me how this heat capacity is related. What is heat capacity? So heat capacity is energy required to increase 1 degree temperature. So one is having 50 joule, another is having 100 joule. It means to increase 1 degree temperature, you require this much energy. Another case, if higher heat capacity, means you need to increase 1 degree, same 1 degree, you need this much. So heat capacity must be low or high. Tell me, low or high? Heat bearing capacity. Tell me what is the answer? Heat capacity should be low or high of the tool material. I have the answer, but let me check you. Heat. Tell me, Ravi Chandranji, what is the answer? Mohit. I have given the hint. I have given you the hint by defining the heat capacity. I have given the heat. By the definition, it is very clear. It should be low. It should be high. It should be high because 50, our purpose is, let us discuss this. Let us discuss this. I have already answered your question. I have already answered your question. Because again we come to the basic. You have this tool, and you have heat generated, that is 500 joule, right? Now 500 joule, and it is having some thermal conductivity and it is having some heat capacity. Because of the thermal conductivity, it will be transferred the heat, right? No, so it's a simple model you make like this of tool material, simple model. So you take only 1D heat conduction, 1D heat conduction, so Ka delta T by L. This is your thermal conductivity, and then Cp delta T. So this heat Q will be from energy in Cp delta T. So T final minus T initial plus Ka delta T, that is T final minus T initial by L. If this is more, this is fixed, suppose 500 watt, right? No, or 500 joule, this is fixed. Everything is fixed. Now CPU increase and CPU decrease, and check whether T finally is increases or decreases. And keep T initial is suppose 30 degrees centigrade. A, you take 1 meter square. Mass you take 1 kg. Or what you will find that when Cp increases, what will happen the final temperature? Whether temperature will increase or decrease? Whether increase or decrease? So it should be high or low. It should be high or low. So temperature decreases with heat capacity. So heat capacity should be high. High heat capacity, high heat capacity. Of tool material must keep high heat capacity, because if it is not keeping high heat capacity, it will increase the temperature. I have given the simple energy balance, and you can check this T final. We want T final low. We want T final low, because temperature increases means all mechanical property decreases. Heat is nothing, man. It is all about temperature. Temperature, heat is nothing. If suppose you eat a lot of KFC food, lot of stuff you take, if your temperature doesn't increase, it means you are okay, you are fine. You are not having any fever. Whatever heat you are having, but your temperature, body temperature is between 97, 98, you are not having any fever. Means you are fine, you are healthy. What in spite of you have eaten, or you have taken a lot of heat generated food like your KFC chicken. Now everybody is clear. Everybody is clear now, or I should again explain? Dheeraj Kumar, explain again. Fine. Once more. Ankit Kumar, you have my WhatsApp number. You send me message. I will send you notes now. You keep notes with you. So what I was discussing about heat capacity, simple. Heat capacity of thermal conductivity must be high, because higher the thermal conductivity, higher the heat dissipation. We don't want. So this is your tool, and we want to limit 300 degrees centigrade. Tool temperature, maximum tool temperature this. So we have two options. One is CP value. Suppose you have one material is suppose 1000, and another CP is your 1500 joule per kg per degree centigrade. Joule per kg per degree centigrade. So which material will take? This is material one, tool material, and this is second. Which one will take? Other parameters are same for both. Which one will take? Which one will take? So finally, this temperature should not increase 300, right? No, it means if so, heat is generated from the cutting motion, that is Fc into V, cutting force into velocity. This is the heat generated. Suppose this is your 1000 joule. I am taking in 1 second 1000 joule. So this 1000 joule energy is taken by the tool, and tool will keep some energy, and it will transfer. Means it will keep some energy, and it will transfer some energy. So and finally, what is our motto? Our motto is the tool temperature. Tool temperature. Sorry, tool temperature must be low. Of course, higher the CP value means it can take higher the energy before raising the temperature. I am again repeating. Higher value of C means it can store more energy without changing its temperature. So higher the heat capacity means it will keep more heat, but temperature will not increase. So this transfer, this is your, so higher the CP, T final minus T initial means Cp is more means this will be less, because this is your constant C1 and this is your constant C2, means this is fixed, this is fixed. Right now it is not fixed, in fact TF, so it this TF right now it will be low when Cp is high. That's all. High value of thermal conductivity, high value of thermal conductivity and high value of specific heat capacity. Now it is clear. Everybody is clear. You have to use some common sense, that's all. You have basic energy conservation. If nothing works, I'm telling you again, this is what I have learned in Indian Institute of Science Bangalore. When I was studying, I learned a very basic thing from ISC. When nothing works, use common sense. Second part is use simple law, whether it is first law is valid, second law, third law, energy conservation, and simple basic definition is satisfied or not. If somebody asks you how did you know that heat capacity is low or high, you explain this by this numerical, by this qualitative approach. You can tell that this is the way. You can prove. I have question for you guys. What should be the thermal diffusivity? It is, let me get my pen. Fine. I ask you now, thermal diffusivity. Thermal diffusivity. Now you have to tell this should be high or low for tool material. Tell me now. This should be high or low. Tool material. This alpha is equal to K by root Cp. This alpha should be low or high. What is the answer? High, sir. Very nice, Nikhil. Yes, Nikhil, you are right. It should be high. It should be high because it should be high. It should diffuse. It should diffuse. It should pass. There will be fight between thermal conductivity and heat capacity. Both will fight. No, I will keep the heat. One guy will ask, no, I will send the heat. Other guy will say, no, I will keep the heat. There will be fight between these two. There will be fight. If this will tell go, this will, I will keep. So who wins? If it is high, means this fellow wins. This fellow wins means go, means heat will be dissipated. It is clear now? High thermal diffusivity. Yes, as temperature increase simply, yes, right, Ravichandran ji. Cp is dependent of temperature. Yes, but I have ignored. I have not, that variation we have not considered. You're right, true. Cp is a function of temperature. Cp is a function of temperature. You are right. But for we have assumed it is in a constant. You are true. Cp and Cv both are function of temperature. When temperature increases, Cp and Cv value increases. But in our discussion, we have assumed it is constant. Now it is fine. So we'll discuss now high carbon steel tool. High carbon steel tool we'll discuss. We'll move ahead. Now we'll, So high carbon steel tool. What is high carbon steel tool? We call it is high speed tool also. High speed tool. HSS, high speed steel tool. It means high speed steel tool. So as a temperature Cp also very, which is prominent, K or Cp? K. I am talking about this alpha altogether. This alpha means K by rho Cp. Means I am not talking about individually this or this. I am talking about this. These values should be higher or lower. I am not bothered with this individual part, because this alpha definition is this combination of these two, ratio of thermal conductivity divided by thermal heat capacity. So I am talking about the alpha. So alpha will be high means K will be value high or this will be low. I am talking about this alpha. So okay, first tool material name. Name high speed because what happens, this is the first invented tool material. High carbon steel HSS speed, high speed steel tool is the first invented tool material. Invented, I'm again telling you, first invented tool material. And that time I think it was 100 years or 80 years before, the using this tool, people were able to machine or cut the material with very high speed that time, olden days. So they put the name high speed steel. High speed steel. So why name is high speed steel? Because that time using that tool material, people were able to machine with high speed. But today's present days, we have very good tool material, like whether it is carbide, cementite, or cubic boron nitride, or coated tools. But because that time name they put this. So basically, in high speed steel tool, you have chromium, you have vanadium, and you have cobalt. And tungsten increases melting temperature, vanadium increases strength, and cobalt increases hardness of the steel. So basically, high-speed steel tool, we have three major alloying elements. One is chromium, vanadium, cobalt. So what chromium? Chromium is a very good, I mean, it increases melting temperature. It is temperature maybe 3,300 degrees centigrade or 3,500 degrees centigrade. Vanadium is a grain it refine grain structure vanadium actually. And because of this grain refinement, strength increases, and cobalt increases red hardness. So major property, one is strength, then you have melting temperature, and then you have a red hardness. Three things are satisfied by three major alloying elements. So basically, there are two types of what you call speed steel tool. One is called tungsten based. Tungsten based, and second is called molybdenum based. It got stuck. Let me check. Page got stuck. Let page go down or go up. Chromium is very good for that corrosion resistant. Ravichandran, chromium is corrosion resistant. There will be other allowing element also in that high speed steel tool, but I am talking about the major allowing element. Chromium is good for corrosion resistant. Corrosion resistant. Chromium plated steel. When I will teach you the material science, that time I will tell you more than 20 allowing elements. And what is, why it is not going up or down here? Huh? Let me check here. I think this page got stuck. What is the problem with this page? I find issue with that page. It is not going up or down. Let me again check. At up to this point, if anybody is having any doubt, please ask, because that page is not going down. We have to wait. Up to this point, if anybody is having any doubt, please ask. Any doubt, you are welcome. No doubt. What is this? Okay. Am I audible to all? Am I? Can you hear me? Can you all guys hear me? Yeah. Let me check my page. No, it is got stuck somewhere. This I am teaching in that note. No, that on note. So I think there is issue with the on note now. Where is the Mohit? Hey, Mohit, tell me what is the issue here? I'm new to this one note. So Alt F4. Okay. Just wait, please, guys. You guys, please wait. No, no. Let me complete this. Okay, so there are two types of high-speed steel tool. Am I audible now? There are two types of. Can you see two types of steel high-speed steel tool? One is called T series. So one is your T series. T series. Other is called M series. Just for yeah, M series. So here T series is one is called where tungsten, chromium, vanadium, cobalt. This is your what you call. So 1841. 1841 means 18% tungsten, 4% chromium, and 1% vanadium, and 0% cobalt. So when it is said 1841, you assume you think it is a percentage of tungsten, it is percentage of chromium, and it is percentage of vanadium. If it is say 1841, 18415, so this is your 18% is tungsten, 4% is chromium, B vanadium, and 5% your cobalt. So it is cobalt. Then your 14 4 2 0. So it is, so you have to understand first letter is your tungsten, chromium, vanadium, cobalt, right? And designation will be this. Sometimes they ask, and their hardness, weaker hardness is 850, 850 weaker hardness HB. So we'll just you note this because we'll discuss when it will go on another tool material. We can compare the hardness. Now one is called cemented carbide tool. Cemented carbide tool. Cemented carbide. It is carbide tool. Generally we call it is carbide tool. Carbide tool. So whenever word is used cemented carbide tool, you understand it is made by powder metallurgy. Powder metallurgy technique. So what is powder metallurgy tool? Means powder metallurgy technique is a very also a machining process. It is a manufacturing process, and where you cannot neither you are, I mean, you cannot cast it. Formability is not possible. Machining is also not possible. Then we go for this uh, powder metallurgy process. In powder metallurgy process is having some very good advantage. Right now, you cannot sometimes you cannot melt. You cannot melt some material. You cannot cut because of the hardness. So you use these techniques. In powder metallurgy, what happens? Just I will send you notes also. We'll discuss it. For time being, just you understand, in powder metallurgy, we make powder of the metal, fine powder, and there are various techniques to make powder also, whether it is electrostatic electrolysis, or it is fine spray uh, liquid. If you spray it, it will be in a liquid form. So there are different methods to make the powder. So powder of different metals are mixed together, and there will be a dye, or we mix it in a proper ratio and we press it. Once we press it, it takes the shape, and then finally sintering is done. Basically, four methods are there. First is mixing, compacting, sintering, and finally small machining. So once it is compacted in a desired shape, then sintering, that we heat it. So there will be welding will be there inside. It will form the shape. I mean, it will be rigidly joined things. So here melting, we didn't melt the molten metal. We didn't apply the force to change the shape. Just we applied the force to interact, to adhere with the powders. It get mixed. During the compacting process, we press it, but internal bonding will be there only when it is heated. That we call sintering process. So this cemented carbide tool is made using these techniques, where we use powder of mixes tungsten carbide or tantalum carbide and tantalum carbide or cobalt. So basically, here we powder we use is your tungsten carbide, or when we word carbide used, you understand it is hard. So tungsten carbide or titanium carbide, or actually or use tantalum 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 carbide, or and plus cobalt. Powder of this powder, we use powder of either tungsten carbide or titanium carbide or tantalum carbide, and cobalt will be there. So powder we mix, compacted into desired shape, then compacted shape is sintered, means heating and cooling. In the process, cobalt is fused to carbide that produce hard dense metal, that is substance is 2. So once you material powder is there, then you press it, right now, by a large amount of hydraulic presses. Large pressure is applied. It takes shape like this, very shape like this, and then finally we'll heat it. Then finally cool it. During heating processes, cobalt will be fused. cobalt will be fused cobalt will be fused cobalt will be fused, and that material that heated, that and a very hard dense material is produced. That material is basically your tool. Hard material is your tool. So it is in a small shape like this. Cutting speed is 150 meter per minute, means high cutting speed. High speed tool is 50 meter per minute. but it is having 3 times speed than cutting. With 3 times speed means higher the cutting speed, higher the productivity. Higher the cutting speed means higher the productivity. It is having high thermal conductivity, low specific heat, low thermal expansion, and high wear resistance. These are the properties. Cemented carbide is very hard. The usual practice is to confine the size to small pieces known as insert. What is insert? Insert is that small piece. Small piece. So you have basically one is steel, high speed steel, uh, tool holder, and you have this material. So this small part is your this tool, and here it is high speed steel, because this is tough. This is having a brittle, so it is lack of ductility is less ductility less. So toughness is, I mean, this material is not tough. So what happens, we join it here by brazing or clamp it, and here this high speed steel is very tough material. So this material will be used to cut the material, and this material will be take the load, fracture load, and the thrust load, cutting load. So it is very good combination. So this I have written here. Carbide tool is very, insert is claimed to be a tough steel shank holder. This has an advantage that tool bit insert is called tool bit is supported to resist force. It has unique advantage combination of high hardness and toughness. Insert may have 3 or 8 cutting. And one more thing, it is throwaway or throwaway throwaway or single use tool. We cannot regrind, not regrind. We cannot regrind it because it is a brittle. It is brittle. We cannot regrind it. So what happens? This tool will be having some edges, 3 to 8 edges. This edge will be there. This edge will be there. This edge will be there. And in rotation, we'll use all edges. You like your saving blade. So in saving blade, you have 2 edge, right? No, 2 edge. So once we use this edge, then we use that other edge. Finally, both edges are rough and blurred. I mean, the sharpness lost. Then we change the blade. We throw the blade. So it is like that only. So there will be 3 to 8 edges. So in turn, we will be using all edges. And once completely we have used all edges and the sharpness has gone, we throw. We cannot regrind. It is very good question is asked. Regrinding is not possible in this cemented carbide tool. Because why? Because of the brittleness. And because of this brittleness, only holder, high speed steel holder is used. So it is having 2000 Beaker hardness, means it is 2.5 times more harder than high speed steel. Okay, fine. Now we'll understand ceramic tool. This everybody understood carbide tool. Everybody understood carbide tool, at least what I have discussed. Tell me whether you have understood carbide tool or not. Nobody is having any. Am I audible to all? Am I audible? Am I audible? Whether everybody understood the concept of carbide tool? Whether did you understand carbide tool? Everybody is clear about carbide tool? So tell me, by which process carbide tool is made? What is the hardness of carbide tool? Why cobalt is used? Why we cannot regrind it? Why we cannot regrind? Why it is called throwaway chip? Throw away insert or good. Everybody, whether Ammal or where is our other guys? Ravi Chandran ji, due to brittleness. Okay, I will keep following Amar. Where is Nikhil? Where is Rajat? What is sintering in a carbon powder metallurgy? What is compacting? What are the different methods to make powder? Tell me 5 names of powder metallurgy product. Why bearing? Why bearing is made of powder metallurgy? Why filters are made of powder metallurgy? Where is the Mohit? I will not let you sleep during my class, okay? Ashish Vinayak. Where is Ashish Vinayak? Anupam, Dheeraj, Neam, Munir Babu, Kiran, Fajal, Parveen, Rajat. There are 2 Parveens. There are total 18 guys. Very good, very good. Process of compacting and forming a solid mass of metal by heat or pressure without melting it. Hey, where you copied this? Where you copied this language? What is liquefaction? What is point of liquefaction? What is liquefied gas? Hey, don't use this copy and paste. You use your language here. You are graduate. I hate copy paste. Okay, fine. You cannot minimize. Okay, fine. So I will continue our ceramic tool. Ceramic tool. Shall we continue? Shall we continue? So ceramic tool only difference is the aluminum oxide is used as a powder. Aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide. Aluminum oxide is used as a powder like cemented carbide, but it is having higher quality as compared to carbide tool. Machining we have done high 400 meter per minute. So you have 50 high speed steel meter per minute. You have 150 carbide, and you have 400. You have ceramic. So your ceramic is speed greater than carbide, greater than high speed steel. And also ceramic tool is having some very good property that we call adhere. It will not adhere to the metal during cutting. What happens? Built up is what happens? That no tool, the chip chip gets adhered here, and because of this, surface finish decreases and tool fails also. So this adhere, it will not adhere, means it avoids to avoid uh, adhereness. So aluminum oxide attached to tool by brazing. It is asked sometime, So it is then diamond tool, which is used for surface finish, surface finish, and it is having highest hardness. It is cutting at high speed, low coefficient of friction, mu value is mu low, high K value is high, and good wear resistance good wear resistance good wear resistance. So diamond tool produces very good surface finish at high speed, that you have to understand. It is used for non-ferrous, like your glass. We cut glass with high speed, plastic, ceramic. We use for these materials. High non-ferrous material like glass, you have plastic, you have ceramics, and it gives very good surface finish with high speed. And you have to remember this rupture of tool point. So diamond tool fails by rupture of tool point. Means if it is your diamond tool, it will fail like this here. It will fail like this. Rupture of tool point because of the brittleness. Rupture because it is asked. And one more thing, I will be having all recorded video, and after GATE examination, I will tell you and show you that I had discussed these things in class. Rupture of the tool point. Then low negative rack angle, we'll discuss no positive, negative, and zero rack angle. So for time being, just to understand, so you have, this is your positive rack angle. We'll discuss it. This is your zero rack angle, and this is your negative rack angle. We'll discuss this, don't worry. So we'll discuss this. So it is having low rack angle, because it is asked low rack angle. Diamond dust is used to abrasive grind. Then you have cubic boron nitride, CBN tool. So boron has a hexagonal structure, but when it is heated under pressure, it converts into cubic structure, which is hard structure. So this speed is your 700 meter per minute highest. And this hexagonal structure is soft, but when it is heated, so you have hexagonal structure, when you heat it and you apply pressure, heat and pressure, this changes into cubic, and this is hard. This is your hard. Shearing tool is used to high speed steel tool and die. So basically it is having highest, so it is used to cut die or tool. So somebody asks you how to grind or how to machine high speed steel tool or high speed steel die material. So CBN is used to cut die. CBN is used to cut the high speed steel tools. Hence, CBN is the masterpiece right now. And basically, CBN dust is used as a abrasive for grinding wheel. Okay, up to this is over. One tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we'll discuss coated tool and tool failure or tool life. So you have to understand this. Tool life is a function of tool life. Tool life is a function of velocity, of cutting speed, depth of cut, and feed. So how this depends? K or VA, DB, FB. So velocity, cutting velocity, depth of cut, and feed. How this tool life is defined? How it depends on this and types of failure, and lot of numerical problems will solve. Okay, so we'll see. Now I'm going to end the class. Okay, everybody is fine. Shall I close? Shall I end the session? Okay, thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.